Browns and Texans getting ready to face off in Houston, 1 o'clock on Sunday. The return of Deshaun Watson and Ashley. News today that the Browns will be without one of their key weapons, David Njoku. He has been ruled out of this game with a new injury, not one. This is not the ankle. This is a knee injury. Ruled out after such a strong game and that great play on Sunday against the Buccaneers. He was a guy that we had pointed out on our podcast, could be a big beneficiary of Deshaun coming back, but going to have to wait a little longer to see that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's kind of like a mystery when exactly this injury happened. You know, we know he hasn't practiced all week, so when he wasn't practicing Friday morning, it seemed like this was definitely where it was trending to him not playing, just because it's so hard to get out on the field when you haven't practiced at all. Kevin Stefanski did say that it's an injury that happened late in that Bucs game, but rewatching that back, it's like I really could not find any hint of him getting injured. He played all of overtime. So, yeah, we'll have to wait until we hear from David to figure out what exactly happened. But, you know, it's definitely tough for him. And Harrison Bryant talked a little bit about that today, that you have such a great game and then you have to miss one. This is going to be the third game out of the last 5 that he's had to sit with an injury.
Now, some good news for the Browns at the cornerback position. Greg Newsome is back after missing 2 games with a concussion. And Denzel Ward, just tightness in the hamstring, which kept him out of practice on Thursday, but he was back on Friday. So they're going to have that trio of Ward, Newsome, and Emerson available on Sunday against the Texans.
Yeah, I think it's definitely big just to, you know, I think we know what to expect from the Texans, right? Like, it's almost like for Greg Newsome, I think this is a good game for him to come back because it's not one of these high-flying passing offenses that he's going to have to go against. He can get back in the swing of things. He's, of course, missed the last 2 games, so I think that's going to be key. And the Browns can start to play with that depth that they have a little bit more and you know, give Martin Emerson still a lot of reps, but not have to rely on him for those starter level reps and get Greg Newsome back up to speed here.
Now, also today, Myles Garrett is Friday, so of course he addressed the media and he covered a number of topics. Of course, Deshaun's return, but also his shoulder that he's been dealing with, getting held, which has been a problem throughout his career, and also getting double and triple team, which again has been something he's dealt with throughout his career. But I want to talk specifically about that shoulder because that's the one thing that is sort of a wild card in all of this. It dates back, of course, to the accident that he had before week 4 when he flipped his Porsche multiple times. Obviously, him and his passenger were lucky to just walk away mostly unscathed. But that shoulder, Ashley, it sounds like it's going to be a problem pretty much through the rest of the year for him.
Yeah, that's basically what he said when I asked him about that today. I think I just asked him, how's your shoulder doing? And he's like, well, it still hurts. It doesn't hurt quite as bad as it did, you know, in that game on Sunday. But I think this is kind of what we expected for Myles Garrett when we first heard about this injury and how he was describing it and kind of knowing like a recovery like this is not necessarily linear following a car accident. But, you know, obviously he's running into other large humans with a ton of force week in and week out. So it's definitely going to be, I think, something that gets aggravated that he's just going to kind of have to learn how to play with. And that's basically what he said today. He's still going to rush the passer, play if he can, get after it. But he definitely, I think, is being hindered by it.
And, of course, you guys got to talk to his pass-rushing BFF, Jadeveon Clowney, today. He's going back to Houston, too. The guy going back to Houston that no one is talking about. What'd you hear from JD today?
Well, Jadeveon Clowney is really excited to see what that visitors' locker room looks like in NRG Stadium, he said. No, but in all seriousness, you know, he did say it's also his first time going back to Houston, the team that drafted him. So he's excited. You know, he said, we got to talking to him, obviously, about Deshaun Watson, his former teammate in Texas. And he really said that he thinks that Deshaun Watson has matured from a leadership standpoint in the locker room since, you know, they originally played together with the Texans, that Deshaun would, you know, when he was like a rookie, would kind of come in and not talk to his teammates. He's very quiet. He just kind of went about his business. But Jadeveon said he's really seen him kind of open up and kind of make more of an effort to include and get to know everyone on the team. And he said physically he thinks he's stronger, but, you know, he said when we asked him, you know, hey, he's been out 2 years. Like, can you imagine doing this? Like, how do you think he's going to react? And Jadeveon said he can still sling it. And that's all I care about. So I think he has a lot of confidence in his former and now current, again, teammate.
All right, Browns and Texans Sunday at 1 o'clock at NRG Stadium in Houston. We will cover everything between now and the game, and of course everything that happens during the game at cleveland.com/Browns.